All right, everyone. Today we are joined by the genius Mercedes Bryce Morgan, the brilliant director behind the upcoming film Bone Lake, out in theaters October 3rd. Mercedes is known for creating bold, thought-provoking stories that explores desires, boundaries, and taboo in ways that leave audiences on the edge of their seats. With Bone Lake, she takes us deep into the world of relationships, power, and vulnerability. Perfect themes for us to dive into here on the Unmasked Project. And with that said, let's hop on in. Hi, Mercedes.
Hello.
Oh, but I'm so excited you're here. So, your new movie, Bone Lake, is coming out October 3rd.
Yes.
Your team sent me the movie to watch. I watched it yesterday from 12 to 2, right before I grabbed my kids. And I was like discombobulated.
I'm glad it's before you grabbed your kids.
No, yeah. But like I was, walking up at pickup and I'm like, because it's a mind fuck. It's the perfect sexiness and horror.
Thank you.
So, for our audience, can you describe a little bit more of the movie Bone Lake?
Totally. So it is an erotic thriller horror film, and it's basically about this couple that goes on this vacation, and then they realize that they double booked an Airbnb with another couple. And we know, that's kind of a classic setup, but we take it to a very different place than I think people would expect, and we really just fucking go for it.
You really do. The first scene, my husband was upstairs and I was downstairs watching it, and he didn't know I was watching it. And he texted me, he goes, "Are you okay?" Because I was like, like the first scene hooks you.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. And it
Thank
was so
you.
fun because I was like, that's my friend. My friend directed this.
And also, even though we can't get spoilers yet because it's not out yet, I feel like we can say to kind of entice people at the first scene. It's basically a completely naked couple running through the woods as they're hunted.
I,
So,
oh my God. I know I don't want to give it away either, but like the first blood that I saw when someone fell, and I was
yeah.
like,
Are
I
you
could,
talking about when the certain body part is pierced?
uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one did something to me. And something else that I loved about your creativity is that in because I love horror movies and thrillers, but primarily it can be a little slow for the first kind of half, and then it has the same amount of intensity the second half. And with Bone Lake, it was like always getting a little more, a little more, a little more. And because I kept being like, oh, oh,
We have to like sculpt our climax, like you kind of have to start out slow and
like
entice
foreplay.
people. Exactly.
Yeah.
Good movies have foreplay, like actually, because you
Yes.
kind of need to get people there and warm them up. And then it really matters, especially if you develop this relationship with someone and your characters. Then when you get to the part where shit goes down, you go, oh my God,
Right.
it's so much more impactful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it just like kept getting better and better. And you guys have to fucking see it. It's unreal. And it's sexy too.
Yeah.
Like,
We wanted to bring sex back into movies because it's something that we kind of had in the 90s with erotic thrillers and it kind of went away. And
yeah.
so it's funny because when I used to pitch on movies a couple of years ago, I was told, Mercedes, take sex out of your pitch decks. And I was like, okay, I'll take
Why?
it out. It's just, I feel like it's related to the economy and what people are going through at certain times. And, it's movies are a business at the end of the day too. So they go, what do people want? What can they handle? And then I got told sex is back, bring it back in. And I'm here for it because I've been here for it this whole time.
Oh my God. I can't. I was I was scared and horny, which is
This is
honestly
what
my
we want.
favorite.
We
Yeah.
want people to be scared and horny.
This is some next level, but like I just wanted to like cover myself in fake blood and just like run around and just like fuck people. But I'm a
Best
psycho.
compliment. Thank you.
One of the early themes is honesty versus performance in relationship. We've all heard stories about people faking orgasms, and that's kind of a theme, regarding the not communicating that with your partner, right? Like faking orgasms, the boyfriend being like, "Oh, I don't need toys." And I love that you did that because that is a really big theme.
It's huge. Yeah. I mean, so what's funny is when the script first got sent to me, that isn't something that was in the script. And I thought, we need something that is a real tangible thing for this couple to go through. And I feel like almost every single woman I know has faked an orgasm at some point. And I thought, oh my God, this is something that is so frequent, but people don't talk about enough. And it's painful for everybody to go through in the relationship. And so I kind of wanted to capture that of, okay, let's bring this through as an emotional thing our characters have to go through.
I don't think I've ever seen that in film before, like something so relatable yet not talked about, I've faked orgasms. You know, I faked my orgasms with my husband for a long time, primarily because I was so embarrassed that I could only have an orgasm with a vibrator, with
Yeah.
toys.
Yeah, totally. Well, we're told people only orgasm certain ways, and I think it's also if I were to really break it down, there's probably a million reasons why, but it's insecurity with yourself, right? Because you're told, okay, this isn't how things are supposed to go. I don't know. But then also, you don't want to hurt your partner's feelings and their ego. And so I think it's trying to protect yourself and protect them. But it kind of just ends up hurting everybody because if, if I were to find out that someone was faking their orgasms with me, that would make me so sad.
Yeah.
I would hate that.
Yeah.
And I think anyone would probably feel that way.
I we were seeing a couples therapist just because we love therapy. And I saw her individually and I told her, I was like, I've been kind of faking my orgasms because I didn't want to hurt my partner. And she was like, you have to tell him. And I was like, no, I'll
You're
die
like,
with this.
no, thank you.
No,
I
thank
will
you.
never ever do that. Yeah.
But I did. And I told him, and he was devastated and he was really upset. And we found ways for me to actually have an orgasm and play with more toys and do those types of things that just like made sex so much better and our connection so much better. But I planned on going to the grave with that.
I think the way that I kind of think about anything in relationships is something's going to come to the surface at some point because we're humans and it's okay. Are you going to live your entire life going through this thing? No, it's probably going to come out in different ways. So, do you either want to face it and get through the scary stuff of talking through it together, or do you kind of want it to bubble and then explode later?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does kind of
Yeah.
boil up and explode in the movie,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
I think we can all relate to with, less blood and guts. Uh, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what you guys do on the weekends. So the film shows how vulnerability can really increase your connections with people. And something that I did relate to in the movie is how these couples did get really vulnerable with each other very quickly. There was one couple where it was a little bit more non-consensual in regards to, how they touched them or, took their clothes off in front of them. And the other couple's like, "Oh, this feels uncomfortable." However, that kind of vulnerability does make you feel really close to another person. So, can you describe more of how vulnerability can really deepen connections quickly?
I think that for myself, I always want to find this vulnerability with people because it creates such more intensity in relationships. And I think that, as akin to what you're saying, there's a great way to do it and there's a horrible way to do that. And we see our characters make many mistakes in this movie of these are the things you should not do because that's what's fun to watch with characters in movies. um, but I think that with vulnerability, it's kind of testing the waters with someone to see, okay, do we want to go there? And if someone's willing to go there with you, that's so exciting because it's such a more intense connection than otherwise. But if you test that with someone and they pull back, your immediate response should be, okay, let's not go there.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what we see happen in this movie is that keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed.
Mhm.
And how do people react to that and what happens when that happens?
Right. And I would say that other couple that was uncomfortable didn't react in a way that they probably should have,
Yeah.
right? And they weren't communicating together.
Yeah.
So
The
in
root of all problems, I always say.
right.
Yeah.
And like they're both experiencing feelings that they're not comfortable with, but they're not sharing that with the couple and they're also not sharing that with each other,
Yeah,
which I thought
exactly.
was also something interesting and something that I think I can relate to as, someone that's in the lifestyle, someone that's E&M. When we first got together, things would happen and then we wouldn't communicate that with each other and then it explodes.
Yeah, no, of course, because if you have a don't ask, don't tell policy, or in the case of these characters, let's just not tell each other anything we're experiencing,
Yeah.
that's just, not to be rude, but it's not sustainable.
Right.
It's not going to go well.
Yeah.
And I think everyone, when they're in a situation, they think, I'm better than this. I can be master of my emotions and get through this. And it's like, okay,
Mhm.
but do you want to be? Because numbing yourself to things doesn't usually
'Cause it
work
can be
well. Yeah,
embarrassing,
of
to be like,
course.
I'm feeling jealous or this
Yeah.
happened to me because I'm afraid of how you're going to react if I express that.
Yeah, exactly. Or, what I say to people is tell your partners things like, "Oh, I'm having the wibbles." It's
What's
like
that?
so okay. This is something that I discovered, and I think it's amazing, but when someone tells their partner that they're jealous, it's kind of an ugly word. No one wants to tell someone that they're jealous, right? Like, you feel shitty for saying it, and it just feels weird to bring up. So I'm kind of the idea of you can rename things. So I like to call jealousy the wibbles because if you tell someone I have the wibbles, it sounds so
That is the
cute.
cutest
And
thing.
it doesn't make it makes you feel silly in a good way, and it makes your partner be like, "Oh,
Oh, the
okay." Where if you
wibbles.
go, "I'm jealous," then my reaction to that is, and so I think that there's ways that we can take communication back into our own hands and have fun with them.
Wait, that's like great advice because we've had a lot of viewers reach out lately being like, "Can you talk more about jealousy?"
Yeah.
And I don't experience jealousy often because I'm a cut queen. So I get off on jealousy and I always have. But then when it does happen, I'm like, I don't want to express that because I don't want to seem uncool.
Yeah.
Jealousy is the umbrella. There's a billion emotions under that and then more emotions under that. So like really finding out where it's stemming from
Yeah.
sometimes takes time.
Totally. Have you guys talked a lot about the difference between envy and jealousy?
No.
Oh, okay. See, I love talking about
Oh
this
my god,
stuff.
okay.
Okay. So jealousy is the thought that someone's gonna take something away from you. So, for example, if you see let's even say that a partner has a new friend or another partner, and you see that happening, and you go, I'm gonna lose this person. I'm jealous because I'm gonna lose this person. Versus envy is wanting to have the same experience. So let's say that your partner goes to Hawaii with someone and you're like, man, I really wanna go surfing, but you're not scared that that's gonna be taken away from you. That's envy. And so I think we kind of use the same word for both sometimes, but they're not the same thing. And I think a lot of times people are more envious than jealous, even because we just kind of want to have other experiences. And that doesn't mean there needs to be fear related to it.
Okay, that's so interesting because I have talked to my husband who for pretty much the entirety of us being in the lifestyle has had a partner. And I maybe have one partner every other year. Like I'm just don't connect with a lot of people. And I've told him I feel jealous because you get to have all these experiences that I don't get to have. That's
It's envy.
envy.
You're envious because you also want to have experiences, but you don't think that he's going to be taken away from you because
No.
you guys trust each other. Else, I don't know how you go through this, and so that's a different emotion.
Interesting. Yeah, it's almost like like a FOMO.
Yeah, exactly. And we all get FOMO. Like you can
Right.
get envious of friends or anyone, or
Mhm.
kids get envious of their siblings.
Do you get jealous?
Yeah, I think that there's a common misconception of this person doesn't get jealous at all, and I do consider myself not as jealous of a person, but I'm human. And I
Right.
think all humans probably experience all emotions at some point, and that's okay.
When you're feeling jealousy, whether that's with your partner or a friend or whoever, how have you navigated that? Do you tell them up front, I'm feeling jealous? Are you the type to kind of sit with it for a while or be angry? What's the primary emotion and how do you handle that?
I think I've experienced different things at different times in my life. So I am naturally an avoidant person. So I think that throughout the majority of my life, I would probably just sit with that and be upset about it, but say, it's fine. And then I realized that did not go well for me because that ended friendships and relationships and took so much away from me. And so, now I do the wibbles thing where I say, I have the wibbles.
My God, literally, you just saying that word, I just want to hug
Yeah,
you.
no, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think and if I'm to trust my partner, which is what it's all about, I expect them to go, "Oh my god, no. Like, how do we help you with this feeling how can I prove to you that this isn't true? How do we, work through this?" And if they're not, then that's probably something I should really explore of why isn't this person holding my heart in this way?
Mm.
And I'd rather have i- issues happen in front of my eyes instead of when I'm not knowing. And so I think with the characters in this movie, they're too scared to talk about anything. But the issues are going to happen behind closed doors and when they're separate from each other. And then it's going to become, in this case, a literal life and death situation.
Right.
Whereas, it might be scary, but I'd rather do it up front
Yep.
instead of face the consequences afterwards.
Right. There are moments where characters push the line between playful and inappropriate. So, how did you want to capture that gray area?
I'll preface this by saying that I think that the characters in this movie are probably not role models for people, and that's what makes them fun characters. But I think the difference between playful is people I think it's whatever you agree to with your partner. So if you and your partner agree something's cheating, then that's not playful. Whereas if you agree that it's not, it is. And so I think it's knowing what you agree upon and what you know for yourself and asking other people. And it sounds so fucking basic, but communication
I we
is the
were
root of everything.
That's what
There
she
should be
was
like
just
a
saying
communication
too.
buzzer that just goes off.
Literally, I need a bell. Dee, 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 dee.
Yeah.
Mhm. So we see the characters starting to recognize the red flags pretty early on, but they didn't trust their gut,
Yeah.
right? And I think that that happens to a lot of people, especially when another couple does kind of come on to them. They're like, "Oh well, I don't know." So how did you want to portray that with the characters that are like, "I don't feel good about this," but then they still continue
Yeah.
with that relationship?
I think with these characters, the issue is that they're being promised something. And so to not, you, when you don't trust your gut, it's usually because you want something so bad. Like you have this fantasy of something working out and you go, either it's the promise of this could be exciting, or in this case, this could make my career. And so you kind of pretend like the bad thing that you're seeing isn't happening because what you've wanted for so long is in front of you. Or in
Mhm.
the case you're talking about, it's, oh my God, this person is so exciting and flirt. You're like, I fantasize this person and this thing that it could be have happening. And so I think people should always trust their gut because they kind of know, even though they don't want to know what's happening.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I've done that where I dated somebody and I knew it wasn't going to work
I think
out.
everyone's done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where I'm like, I can fix him or I can introduce him to polyamory, even though he's never been in a relationship ever in his life. But so I'm teaching him how to do polyamory and relationships at the same time.
Which are two very hard things, even on their own.
Like,
So putting
what?
them
Like,
together.
what am I thinking? Because, like you said, it
Yeah.
was the butterflies and it
No,
was
and
the
you wanna and it's
NRE.
so hard to find people you connect with and just in life things that make us exciting because so much is boring and drab. And so when you find that you
Mm-hmm.
go, oh, I found it, the thing I'm looking for. But maybe you haven't, and that's okay, but then keep going.
And see, I'm going through that right now. Like, I'm kind of talking to somebody that's like a family member of someone else that is in the lifestyle. And I'm like, is this messy? And I'm like, probably, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
I think it's choose your mess, right? It's some people don't want to deal with messiness, and that's totally legitimate because life is hard. And then also other people want to go through that, and great.
Yeah. And
Like
like there's always
dive
a
in.
lesson
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Yeah, like
I
how many therapy sessions do you want to have? Like some people are like more because I'm doing things that are exciting and intense. So
mhm.
that's gonna merit this and I should go for it. And I go, cool.
Yeah. Cause I
Yeah.
always learn something. And every relationship I'm in, friendship I'm in, I always learn something, whether it was a great relationship and I learned how, if I'm talking polyamory, I've been in relationships where I'm like, oh, like this really works well with this partner. So I'm going to apply it to my husband and it's made us
Definitely.
so much closer.
Yeah.
Or I learned, oh, well, this isn't the type of friend I want in my life.
Yeah.
This is the kind of communication I want to have. So I mean, I feel like I've learned so much. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I think this other couple in your movie has probably learned a lot.
Yeah. They went through a crazy experience and it teaches them some things that are some life lessons.
Sure does. Jeez. The film explores power, control, and desire in like psychological ways. So, what drew you to telling that story of like through thrill and suspense?
I like to break tension down in three ways. So I say that tension is kind of wondering what the mystery is. As humans, even when we go about in daily lives, we go, why is that happening? Or who's doing that? Or what's the drama and what's the tea? And
Hmm.
how does this thing work? And then there's the threat of death. So as humans, we're very scared to die. And so there's always that constant fear of that happening. And then there's the possibility of sex. And I think that these are some of the three main motivators that humans have in life. And so when I look at a script in a movie and choosing what I want to do next, I go, okay, if it has one of these things, I'm interested. But if it has three of these things, I go, I'm hooked in. I
Hmm.
gotta know. And so I think with this too, seeing that's what I love about erotic thrillers is it's just kind of seeing the tension of sex met with this possibility of death, and then it just heightens it a lot
Yeah.
and a really fun watching experience.
Yeah. Like and like I said, like it just gets more and more intense and it gets more I was getting like more and more turned on at the same time I was getting more scared and I was like, this is fucking crazy. And because I've said this before on the podcast, and I'm not sure if you and I ever talked about it, but I like psychologically like fucking with people consensually,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
consensually,
yeah,
and I enjoy that, right? And so
yeah.
these other characters that are doing things non-consensually are, they're kind of mind fucking them and
Yeah.
kind of getting turned on by it. And I almost felt a little sick in the head for being like, I mean, I don't want to kill anyone.
Yeah.
Like don't come for me, but I like that.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen
Yeah.
House of a Thousand Corpses?
I have not, and it has been on my watch list, but now I have to.
You have to,
Yeah.
because I am Rob Zombie's wife in that. Like when I dom somebody, I'm very much kind of like a fairy dom where I'm like, oh, like I'm gonna ruin your life and hit you with my car and like, ah, so it's seeing that kind of psychological torture is something that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I'm like taking notes from the
Totally.
fucked up
You know
characters.
what I would love to do is I would love to do a sequel to this movie where it's everyone instead of it being them crossing lines and fucking with people psychologically in a way that isn't consensual, it's like what is the consensual version of this movie? But then we
Ooh.
see the horror go down in a different way. But because I think that this movie is such a tale of this is the wrong way to do this. But it's
Mhm.
also sexy to see it done in the right way because this movie is sexy, but then we learn from it. But I
Right.
go, oh, what's the other version of that?
Oh, interesting. So, like, both couples, it would be perhaps, like, consensual in regard to
Yeah. But then
sexiness.
something else happens and they have to go through
Ooh,
that together
like,
instead of
okay,
against each other.
interesting.
Yes.
I mean, we just need more lifestyle content in the universe that, at least sort of portrays how it really is out here. Um, and so yeah, if you could get on that, that'd be great. Thank you. Why do you think audiences out there are so drawn to sex and taboos?
Okay, well, I think sex, first of all, we are living creatures. So I think that just is undeniably makes sense. But I think in terms of taboo, I think about it a lot because when we're kids, we're told not to say fuck, right? And so when you become 12 years old, you're like, I'm going to say fuck. And it is so exciting to say this. And then you become an adult and you're like, I say fuck all the time. It's not that exciting. But in terms of taboos, like we love these things that we're told don't talk about them. And so it becomes really titillating to go talk about them to people. And I'm the kind of person where, I get bored in life. And so I'll go to a party. And one of my first questions that I will ask people would be, would you have sex with your clone? And because I want to get to know people right away and break through this barrier. So, Layla, would you have sex with your clone?
100%. Yeah, I've also said this before, no one turns me on the way I turn me on. Like, when I'm going to sex parties, I am almost seeing myself in third person. So,
That's amazing.
I see myself, like, dancing, and I'm like, I'm feeling myself and touching myself, and I would 110% do that.
Yeah.
Would you?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
If my clone showed up in a room, and would I say no to that? That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I go, oh my God, that would be so exciting. But what's really interesting is I think that actually a majority of people I ask say no. Because a lot of guys are like, that's gay. And I'm like, well, you masturbate, right?
Okay,
And that with yourself?
okay.
And
Uh,
I understand all parts of it, but it's just so interesting. It's an interesting way to break down different people's experiences and where they're coming from.
Honestly, and I feel like that's a good question. Yeah, no, that is. Uh, Nat, would you have sex with your clone? Say it loud.
I say no because for some reason it feels like incest.
Oh, that's actually pretty funny.
So it's like
A legitimate
I
answer.
don't look like siblings even separately. Yeah,
I do.
no.
I do. I've hooked up with two times in my life. I've hooked up with brothers in the same night. Two times. Because again,
Wow.
taboo. I am. Wait, I want to ask a man. We're asking our producers. Would you have sex with yourself?
You actually need to have a twin brother.
No, no.
Oh, honest. Okay. No, okay. That does add an
But
element.
I want to ask the audience, would you have sex with your clone?
Put it in the comments. I'm so curious. And I want to do a poll on our socials too, because
Please.
that's a genius
Yeah,
question.
I wanna know. There's no wrong answers, and there's no right answers,
Right.
so, yeah.
Yeah. I live for taboos. And I think that's what interested me in joining the lifestyle anyway. And I think that's what turned me on. And that's why I was going to sex parties like every weekend for the first year. And then the taboos kind of, became
Do these not feel
normalized.
like being taboos
And now
anymore?
I'm like,
That's what I'm saying, it's like saying "fuck." I'm like,
right.
I lost the ability for that to sound exciting.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to find more taboos or something. And I mean, I was gonna say the movie gave me some ideas, but I'm not sure I want to go down the
What
taboo
ideas did it give you?
twist.
Oh, also, I'll say about taboos that I think that, my one of my favorite sayings is "Don't yuck someone's yum," and so I kinda live my life by that, but also, if the taboo is hurting or harming other people in a certain way, you can yuck the yum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And also like I never want to kink shame as long as it doesn't hurt that person or someone else.
Yeah.
And if it does, then all the shame
Yeah.
from every angle. What do you hope that the audience is going to take from seeing Bone Lake? Like, how do you want your audience to feel when they walk out of theaters?
Yeah. First of all, it's a popcorn movie. So I want people to just have a fun, sexy time. I've had a lot of couples tell me that they love seeing this movie because it makes them talk about their relationships. But I think anyone can just relate to this in some way of seeing, the messy dynamics that happen. But I think beyond that too, without giving anything away, I think you'll notice that when you don't talk to your partner, things will usually go wrong
Yeah.
instead of discussing things.
Hmm.
So that's what I would love people to take away. A big tiff that they have in the movie is over masturbation and masturbating when your partner isn't around, and if that's okay or not. And it causes some friction between them because they both have varying different opinions. So I'd love to hear your thoughts
Oh,
on that.
I wrote down a quote and tell me if I think it's
Yeah.
a good quote. He says, "It's our job in the bedroom, not toys." She says, "You have a different anatomy than I do." And he says, "I don't masturbate instead of having sex with you." And this is where I could 100% relate to that because I've had conversations like that with my partners too, where they're
Yeah.
like, "I would never choose masturbating over having sex with you." And there are plenty of times that I just don't want the pressure, right? Of them watching me or them trying to pleasure me. And then I'm more in my head. Sometimes I just want to take my magic wand and knock one out in 5 minutes. And they want to have sex for like 30 minutes. I'm like, I have stuff to do. I have to scroll on TikTok before I get the kids. You think I want
Yeah.
to? Sometimes energetically, I just want to be by myself. I'm fortunate that that's not true. I would say my partner in the beginning might have been a little iffy about me masturbating without him. But now that we've been together so long, I literally text him and I call it jerking off for myself too. And I'm like, I'm gonna go jerk off in the guest house. And he's like, awesome, cool. Can't, tell me about it if you want to, but there's no hard feelings. I do you think that a lot of couples have like, do you think more couples than not have difficulty with toys or jealousy with toys
Totally. I
or
think that
masturbating?
yeah, no, totally. I think that probably a lot of couples have issues with this. And something I wanted to do with this scene and capture in the movie is I wanted to show kind of both sides of it because you can kind of understand where both people are coming from. Because for her, she's right. She does have a different anatomy, and that shouldn't be banned for her to be able to find what works for her and be able to orgasm. But also from him, he's hurt because she's not telling him this, and he's trying so hard to make her happy and to
Mhm.
pleasure her. And so when I look at this, it's a very hard because good arguments are when you understand where both people are coming from. And so I feel like for them and for any couple, it's less about the actuality of, okay, is it right or wrong to do this? It's how do you guys feel about this? And how are you talking about it in a way that makes you both feel good about it? So, like, for your example, you talked about it and then you made it a fun thing that you get to share together. So you're sharing it instead of hiding it, which
Mhm.
makes it kind of get rid of the fear of you're doing this away from me and it's because you don't like me. It's, oh
Yeah.
no, this has to do with me. And I'm letting you in on this thing that's
Yeah.
special that I get to tell you about.
Yeah, like, it can be fun, and sometimes we'll even do after I told him that, I need a vibrator, which a lot of women or those with vaginas, like they do need clitoral stimulation in order to have an orgasm. A lot more women than I suspect. And there's been plenty of women that I've said that, or we've had, fans reach out to us and they're like, thank you. Like I thought I was kind of alone in that. I felt a lot of guilt and shame of most of my life about that, because I also want my partners to feel that they've satisfied me. And I
Yeah.
still enjoy sex. It still feels amazing. And there's plenty of times even now where I will be having sex with someone and, we'll bang it out a little bit and have a good time. And then they're like, oh, do you want to come now? And I'm like, no, I don't
Yeah.
want to.
No,
I
totally.
feel good. Or mutual masturbation has been really fun too, where my partner will just kind of be stroking it and doing his thing and I'm doing my thing and we'll watch porn together or old videos together and things I didn't think I would ever thought I would do. Something else that my partner and I will do is we will sometimes I don't want to have sex. Sometimes I don't want to. And instead of being like, no, thank you, which I say a lot of the times too, is I'll be like, I'll scroll on my phone while he's having sex with me. So I don't have to do anything. And it is some of the most pleasurable sex I've ever had because I'm not focused on the other person. I'm not focused on performing.
Mm.
I'm not focused on anything. And I'll just sit there kind of like a bored and ignored type of stuff. And like, so it's really given us opportunities to experiment with stuff. And that's primarily because we communicated it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to have a lot of conversation to go into that for people to go, okay, this is what we're on board with. Or
Hmm.
else there might be a lot of miscommunication about that. Someone maybe you're scrolling on your phone and you're bored with me and you're like, no, this is good.
Yes. And we've had other friends try it and they're like, that was so hot. Sometimes I just want to be used, which again, I didn't know unless we communicated and just experimented and tried more things to see. Because sex for me was never really about pleasure until within, probably the last couple years. It was more so of wanting to impress the person I was with. So I wanted them to go back and be like, "Oh, that was the best sex ever or the best blowjob ever." And it wasn't until I think I was like at Mystery Temple, which is a tantric play party where they were like, just focus on the sensations. And we've been experimenting with blindfolds. And so I'll put a blindfold on and not touch my partner. And they'll just do like light touches. And I'm just like feeling the sensations and things like that. And it's like there are other forms of intimacy besides coming.
Oh, totally. I mean, I think that almost in today's day and age, it's people have sex so fast that almost there's other things that are even more intimate. It's like sharing your feelings and crying around someone is kind of a step that people might have sex on the first date and then they don't do that until a year later.
I mean, there have been times I've had sex with people like at parties and stuff, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Layla." Like after, or like their cock is in my mouth. I'm like, "Oh my god, nice to meet you." So,
I mean, what I think separates this movie from a lot of other things that we see right now is it's sexy and it's fun. And so I think kind of just our movie deals with sex in some ways that are positive, in some ways that are bad for our characters, but I think just kind of having a sex positive spin to it is something that's really important to me. Like I love to direct erotic thrillers, and I'm such a sex positive person that it's something where people could go, oh, this is taboo in a bad way, or this is this, but also just the fact of making content that's sexy and fun is something that I want to bring back into movies.
yeah, I mean, and I was like literally horny after the movie, and I was like, "I wish I was at a play party right now." So there's some sex scenes in here. You've directed sex scenes
I
before?
have,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, I directed sex scenes in my previous movie, Spoonful of Sugar, so it's nothing new to me, but it's something that is seen in a lot of my content.
How do you navigate that? Like, do you have people on site to ensure
Yeah.
everybody's comfortable? Is that pretty common?
Yes. Yeah, so it's very common nowadays. Different people have differing opinions about it, but I always have an intimacy coordinator on set, and the way that I kind of describe it to people who don't really know what that is the same way that we have stunt coordinators or choreographers. These are people, a lot of them are in the community or, lifestyle or just come from different walks of life where they know a lot about sex and they've kind of specialized in that in a way where they can choreograph our actors. And so when we talk about sex scenes, we're very specific of what position are the actors in? How much nudity are we showing or not? What is the duration of it? What kind of shots are we showing in? And the actors go through and sign contracts before we do it. And so it's almost a process of I write up a document. I say, this is all the sex and nudity in the movie. Here's the story reason why we're doing it. So people always know it has a purpose. It's not exploitive of anybody. That goes to the lawyers, that goes to the intimacy coordinator. They have a conversation separate from me so the actors can give consent because if they're in a situation where they're, someone's boss is asking them to do something or just, a director who is we're collaborators. I don't want people to say yes just because they think, oh, I want to make this person happy or this is easygoing. They need to have a conversation separate from me where they feel comfortable about it. And so they're
Wow.
saying yes because they feel good about it. So then those people I link up with the intimacy coordinator again, and then we're able to go on set and do that. And, some movies have real sex. This is all, obviously choreographed. It's not real sex. But
Yeah.
another thing that the coordinator brings in is they bring in certain wedges or certain coverings to make sure that everyone's okay. So they have a kit that they bring with them of these are,
Oh,
things we place on people so we don't show total nudity or this way they're not actually having, it's not actual penetration.
yeah.
It's they're being able to push up against something. So it looks like that, but that's what's happening.
Right. And like if they're on top, they're not like hurting the person on the bottom
Yeah.
kind of thing. When you're casting, do you make it clear to those auditioning that there are sex scenes?
Yes, very much so. So they
Okay.
get the script, they see everything that's happening. And I think, especially with movies like this, people ask, they're like, oh my God, you have so many fresh faces. That's so exciting. And I think it's just finding people who are down to make this kind of content and are like, yes, we want to go for this and do this. And, just being respectful of everybody in all senses of the
I
word.
appreciate also, I wanted to mention, I really appreciate that these are fresh faces. And because it gets to a point where I'm just kind of like, I don't know, been there, done that with some of these actors. So you and I don't know if this is interesting or not, but like when you're auditioning people, do you primarily like to see fresh faces or are you looking for more experienced actors that have been in bigger movies?
Both. I think it really depends on the role. So, for example, a lot of our actors, they have been in a lot of TV shows, but we're kind of still getting to meet them and explore in this way. Versus Andra Nachita, who plays the beautiful Sin, she's someone who's very fresh and new. And, it was kind of us going, okay, we believe in her and we want to put her in this role.
Oh,
And
she
she
she was
delivers.
I think she was my probably my favorite.
Yeah.
She was my favorite because, like, that's kind of the energy that I kinda like to play with. She's kinda like that little fairy-ish kinda
Yeah.
type, and, I just liked seeing something new and something fresh, and not only was the concept new and fresh, but the faces were new and fresh, so it felt like a deeper experience. I'm not thinking about previous stuff that they'd been in
Yeah.
before.
No, totally. Yeah. And in
Yeah.
addition to that too, something that is really important to me is if we're gonna show female nudity, I believe that we have to show male nudity. Because just show one or the other, it kind of feels, male gazy or, even for myself, I go, okay, it's equal across the board. We're doing with this one person, we're doing it with everybody.
All of the characters are also really beautiful
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
uh, but that's just my own thing. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god, introduce me."
Totally.
Super cool. Thank you so much for coming on. For those that don't know, Mercedes and can I say that we've been friends?
Yeah.
Mercedes and I have been friends for a while now, and I've been watching your kind of progression as a director. And the first thing that I saw that you did was the Marshmello and Bastille music video for
Very
Happier.
different tone.
Very
Yes.
different tones, very different, but anything I've ever seen of yours is you. It's
Thank you.
unique and like the camera angles and the direction and it's beautifully done. I cannot wait for our audience to see the movie. It comes out October 3rd.
October 3rd across theaters. So people should go see it if they want a fun, sexy time. And I recommend bringing your partners and your friends and your
Yeah.
partner's partners.
Yes.
And yes.
Bring everybody. I
Yeah.
cannot wait for the party, the event to see how people react because if they gasped as much as I did, it's going to be a loud crowd. It's going to be super fun. Do you want to plug yourself?
Yeah. So people can find me on Instagram at Mercedes Bryce Morgan.
Okay, everyone, Please be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a 5-star review if you like this content. If you don't leave a review. If you have any questions for me or Mercedes, please put it in the comments. And please be sure to try something or someone new. Uh, Boom.
When Will saw this house on the app, he thought Bone Lake was a euphemism.
Yeah, I thought it was called Bone Lake because it's a secluded place where people come to
say
bone.
it.
Yeah, I thought that. Great minds.
Male minds.
Do you guys like to play games? Everywhere you go and everyone you meet is playing together.
We have this house for the weekend.
Seems like we also booked this house.
It was supposed to be just us, and now we're with strangers. She's pretty.
So is he. So are you.
Think this is an opportunity to prove your love before the weekend is through. But if you leave now, there are things about us and each other that you're never gonna know.
It seems like someone wanted all of us here.
Love is kind of like a game of chess. Want to know what happens if you lose?